That intro music never gets old. Welcome back to MLS Monday, everyone, by Scarves and Spikes. I was thrown off a little bit there. Tyler, you cheated on me there. You threw me off by getting out of your chair. You weren't supposed
My
to
bad.
do that.
I gotta throw some races at you.
Before the show started.
That is bad. He's trying to catch me off guard, but no, we keep on going. We keep on going through it. Match day 6 in the books, back from an international break. As always, here with Sydney Hunt and Tyler Pilgrim, who was not in his seat. How dare you? Gentlemen, how are y'all doing tonight?
Tyler, sorry.
I'm good. I'm good. It's been a very busy weekend between Atlanta and the post-match show that we were going to do, our takeaways being interrupted by Grand Theft Auto Live. And it's just been a busy weekend, both in soccer and outside of soccer. So, but I'm good.
It's good to have MLS. It's good to have MLS back. By the way, gentlemen, I hope you both had a terrific Easter weekend, spending that time with family. But good to have soccer back on. Not soccer, but good to have MLS back on. 6 matches into a 34-match, I guess, marathon, guys. And it's hard to believe before you know it, we'll be at the World Cup rate, right, Henry?
Yeah, I mean, every day that countdown ticks down, and we're just months away now. It's unbelievable that it's already April, which means that World Cup starts in, I'm going to do quick math in my head, 2 months. That is insane that this huge occasion is almost here. But yeah, as you said, we just came from an international break where the U.S. men's national team played a couple games here in Atlanta. They didn't go so well, but we had the pleasure of covering those. You can find all that content on scarvesandspikes.com. And now we're back with MLS Matchday 6 and then Easter. Tyler, did y'all do anything fun over Easter? Did y'all maybe go hunt some eggs?
We did. Except it was all indoors because the weather sucked here in Atlanta, as y'all might know. Yeah. But smoked a ham, did some Easter egg hunts. It was a good time.
Well, you know who else got an egg this weekend?
Oh my gosh,
Orlando City got a big fat goose egg and then got scored on 6 times. It's a 6-0 game against LAFC. LAFC 6-0-1 has not allowed a goal yet this season. How insane is that?
It's never happened in MLS history. 7 matches without allowing goals. Pretty incredible.
I don't know what's crazier though, like how great LAFC is doing, and we'll talk about it, I'm sure. With, they've gone some periods where things weren't clicking, but they're also not giving up goals. So that is a recipe for success, no matter what. And that's great. And then literally on the other side of the table, you have an Orlando team that isn't just losing, but they're losing spectacularly bad.
Yeah.
It's crazy, some of these games that they've had.
So two teams historically bad. One team historically good to start the season. One team historically bad to start the season. So
yeah, again, for Orlando City, out of 6 games that they've played, this is the 3rd game that they have lost by a score of like 5-0 or worse, right? They also lost to, I believe it was Nashville, and then might have been NYCFC. I got to go check that again, but this is bad, right? You fire Oscar Pareja, thinking, hey, it's time to move on. It's time to kind of see if you get that new coach bump, and you kind of do, and you're back, right? And you're back
against Montreal.
Exactly. So it's not feeling great if you're an Orlando City fan, but hey, good news is you get Antoine Griezmann in the summer. I bet Lions. I don't know if that's any comfort to Lions fans out there, but
non-defender Antoine Griezmann, mind you.
Hey, maybe he'll at least help you get some goals, because I think at least if you lose 6-1, you feel a little bit better than if you lose 6-0.
Yeah, right. Only a little.
Awful, man. But yeah, well, let's leave Orlando by the wayside there for a sec, and let's talk about just what LAFC is doing. Obviously, defensively, amazing throughout the season. 6 games without conceding a goal. That hasn't been the problem. What has been the problem for LAFC in the first 5 match days of the season, at least, has been putting it together up top, right?
Yep.
Finding their goals in the attack, which is kind of weird to say when you consider that they have Denis Bouanga, who was a Golden Boot runner-up last season, has had 20 plus goals in 3 of his seasons in MLS, has never had a problem really scoring. And then you add to that Son Heung-min, who is a superstar coming from Tottenham, immediately just forms a banger of a partnership with Bouanga last summer. And they start out really quiet, which for me is disappointing because I have him on my fantasy team. And so I'm like, dude, what's up? And so I take the captain's armband off of him, obviously. And then he goes and drops 4 assists in the first half against Orlando City. So
nice. Fantastic.
I guess you're welcome, LAFC fans, because that clearly was what helped. What I noticed was that Son was playing a little bit of a different role, though. He was playing almost as like a false 9. More than just like a pure number 9 or any sort of thing. He was dropping back. He was helping create some of these plays. And obviously that's where you get these 4 assists. Guys, is this new role what LAFC needs from Son?
I mean, the criticism, guys, going in, yes, Son hadn't affected the attack as much. As the criticism is Mark Dos Santos was playing him in the wrong spot. But you mentioned it. You moved to sort of that false 9, and he explodes. And this is the Son Heung-min that we expected to see. But just going back to the attack, Henry, before the 6-0 win, they had scored 5 goals in their past 4 matches combined. 2 against Houston, 1 against Dallas, 2 against St. Louis, and then shut out in the goalless draw against Austin before the break, right? So to your point, yes, the attack had been struggling, but the defense has been anything but struggling. I mean, like we said, 0 goals allowed through 6 matches is a historic start. And now, if you can get your attack going, if you can get Son really going, well, we'll get his, right? And we'll talk about him in just a little bit. He'll get his. But if you have Son doing his part, we've mentioned this before, David Martinez, if you have him, add him to the mix, this could be a very, very lethal team, guys, from an attacking standpoint. They have the defense figured out. What can they do to sort of, it's going to sound weird, elevate this attack? Is this the sort of, hey, they beat Orlando, which is one of the worst teams in MLS, and drop 6 goals on them? Or is this something that, Tyler, they can sustain more than just one match here against a really bad team? That's a big question.
My thing, I think in a lot of ways, this is the LAFC team that maybe is finally progressing back to the mean a little bit, because it was kind of wild that they went so many matches where the attack just wasn't clicking, considering not only, like, take away what we know of LAFC and their attack and everything else, but you have Son and Denis Bouanga, who are one of the best players in the world, literally, and the other one of the most prolific attackers in MLS over the past few seasons. It didn't seem right that they were having these matches where they just weren't scoring the way that they should. So it almost kind of felt like this was the proverbial floodgate opening and things kind of coming back to where they need to be. Now, a lot of times we see that, and it happens along with the defense kind of having to give up something to make it happen. And that's not what happened. Like, this was an LAFC team that kept their defensive shape. They did the job, and the attack finally worked. And you talked a little bit about some of the changes. But Denis Bouanga, hat trick in 8 minutes. I had to go back and look. Do y'all know what the fastest hat trick in MLS history was? Trivia for the day.
No,
I do not know.
Because I actually thought this was going to be close, and it is close. But I thought this might be it, right? Like 8 minutes is pretty significant. It was not. Back in 1998, LA Galaxy, other LA team, against the Dallas Burn, Harit Karapetyan, I think is how you pronounce his name. He dunked 3 in 5 minutes. So
wow,
that might stick for a while. But no, I mean, I think overall this showed the rest of the league again why a lot of folks have picked LAFC to be a favorite for the cup, and that's just the way. I mean, that's the type of ball that they're playing. Even when things aren't clicking fully, they're still coming out with results, and that's the mark of a championship team.
I don't think, guys, and I'll kind of speculate here. I don't think Maxime Crépeau is going to get the number 1 shirt for Canada this summer league.
It's looking rough, dude.
Yeah, it's looking pretty rough. I'm gonna say that Dane St. Clair has that pretty much sewn up at this point, guys. But I mean, this defense. I mean, switching it back to Orlando just a bit. This defense is just shockingly bad. 23 goals in 6 matches. I'll have to go back to see, I guess, what sort of is the baseline for that. But look at most goals allowed in the season. They're pretty much trending toward that. They could challenge that for sure. And we mentioned Martin Perlaman being the interim head coach. I mean, you can't fire the interim head coach, guys. But as they continue their search for a head coach, right, who will want to come in and be part of that, be part of, what's going on? This roster or this team that had so much promise, so much talent has just crashed and burned. And it's becoming clear that the problem was not Oscar Pareja at all. It's just a fundamental problem with the team. So most goals, guys, allowed in MLS history and a 34-match season is the 2024 San Jose Earthquakes with 78, SC Cincinnati 75, 2019. And then Orlando 74, 2018, tied with SC Cincinnati in 21 and the Reds in 24 with 74 goals allowed. So, like I said, they're knocking on that door, knocking on the door of history for the wrong reason. But LAFC knocking on the door of history for the right reason.
Yeah, LAFC off to a phenomenal start to the season. How long will their clean sheet streak continue? Well, first of all, tomorrow they host Cruz Azul in the first leg of their quarterfinal matchup against they host Cruz Azul, my bad, tomorrow at 10 p.m.
Yeah.
Then Saturday, they go over to Providence Park to visit the Portland Timbers. That is MLS play. So the Portland Timbers have had a kind of an ups and down season. I mean, we'll talk about them in a bit. More down than up, but we'll get to them in a little bit. We have a comment here for I'm going to try to pronounce the name, but Abinar Girder. I don't know. I got that totally wrong. We tried. So I'm just not going to bother talking about that load of crap that occupies the Benz then, huh? Lol, don't blame you one bit. Not really anything to say that hasn't been. That is the lovely team that we cover most of the time. And we will talk about them on Wednesday on our main show. If you are a masochist and love that kind of stuff, we will be there for that. But guys, just kind of a very short preview. Is there too much to talk about other than the fact that it's poor all around, just especially without players like Matias Galarza in midfield to kind of help you do much of anything? I'm getting way too technical for this show, but it's not good.
Yeah. From a broad perspective,
could be better.
Not to spend like a whole lot of time on it, but like if we're putting on our MLS Monday hat talking about Atlanta, right? Anybody can look at Atlanta and say they seem to have taken a step back over the international break, because the type of ball that they were trying to play, especially in the first half, was confusing and bad, like really bad. And they don't look like a team that's going to challenge much of anything in the East.
Yeah.
So we say all this stuff about Orlando. Atlanta's kind of in the same boat. I mean, they're not getting beat 6-0 on a consistent basis. But they're still not playing very good ball. So, like, it's a struggle.
It is a struggle, and Atlanta United needs to figure that out quick. Guys, is 17 seconds quick?
Pretty quick.
17 seconds is pretty quick. That's how long it took the Chicago Fire to score against Nashville SC. 17 seconds for Philip Zinkernagel to find the back of the net. The DJ wasn't even ready with the goal horn yet. It's insane. But Nashville, a team that was on an absolute tear to start the season, one of the early favorites for MLS Cup and a very good playoff spot and Supporters Shield. They're stopped by the fire here in this game. Blanked, shut out. And
Burned.
if you look at, I mean, that should not be a surprise. When you go back and you look at how the Fire has been this season, there's only been one game out of the 6 that they've played so far where they have conceded more than 1 goal. And it is the loss against DC United a few weeks back, a 2-1 loss. Other than that, they have only conceded 1 goal max in their games.
Wow.
And they've even kept, this is their 3rd clean sheet in 6 games. So we are seeing a Chicago Fire side that came into the season already with a very solid attacking group, but they have reinforced at the back, and they have now solidified their back line, which was causing them problems last season. So we are starting to see where the Chicago Fire side is going. That offense still hasn't really gotten going. Obviously, there's still some work to be done in that aspect, but the Fire are figuring things out, and I predicted them to be 4th in the East this season. I'm not feeling too bad about that prediction, to be honest.
Who did Tyler predict to be 4th in the East this season, by the way?
DC United, baby. Let's go.
Both of them can occupy 4th place in the East, right?
They could be close.
As far as I'm concerned. Good for Zinkernagel to score that goal, by the way, and good for Chicago to make that stand up for pretty much near 90 minutes, guys. Chris Brady makes 4 saves. Talk about national team hopefuls for the summer. Chris Brady maybe on the outside looking in for that, maybe a GK3 spot for the U.S. men's national team. Really keeping Nashville at bay during this particular match. Nashville, you said it, defensively has been on lockdown. Just 2 goals allowed this season, or 3 goals allowed this season, I should say. That's good. LAFC with their 0 goals allowed, but still pretty good. But I'm not concerned about Nashville, guys, and I don't think Nashville SC fans should be concerned. This is just a blip. This is just a hiccup on a long season, or for a long season, that is. And we'll talk about Champions Cup quarterfinals coming up. They play Club America, which is going to be a tall task. But some of the criticism about Nashville SC, guys, into this match, and I don't know if you saw it, was their roster. I mean, I don't think a lot of people were expecting them to play first choice lineup against Chicago, right?
Probably not, considering you have that Club America game
exactly
tomorrow, literally. So
yeah,
I would have expected some rotation.
Yeah, but you have your attack, all 3 of your attackers, Serge, Mukhtar, Espinosa, all starting. Alex Mule, Andy Nehar, Dan Lovitz, Eddie Texef, Corcoran. You have all of those first team preferred 11 starting for you. And guys, it's so important for Nashville to get a good result at home, not just a good result, but a fantastic result at home. I mean, A, shut out Club America, but B, make that tie so massive that Club America have it all to do when this series goes to Mexico City next week, or Mexico next week. It's going to be a tall task. And yeah, really surprised that BJ Callahan elected to play a number of his first team players, preferred 11. That might come back to bite them, guys, against Club America tomorrow, even though it's at Geodis Park, even though you're at home. I don't think that you're going to have as easy a time defensively as you've had with a lot of the teams in MLS this year. So I don't know. I think it's just a bad move on BJ Callahan's part, and they end up losing too. So it's a tough move to make if you're the head coach of Nashville SC.
It's a little confusing for sure. And I think I could sit here and try to justify it. I think my best guess would be, Club America is going to be hard no matter what. And I think it's early enough that maybe it was a roll of the dice to take on a Chicago team that you could beat on a day, right? And actually because they played well. Nashville did. They both played well. But I mean, it wasn't like Chicago came in, got that goal, and then like just absolutely went ham and had a whole bunch of shots on target, and none of them went in. And that was the story of the game. That's not what happened. This was actually a pretty evenly matched game. I think if I'm BJ Callahan, maybe the idea is, hey, maybe we can snag this one in MLS just to bump us up another 3 points or a point if we draw. Didn't really come out. But with the caveat that, you know, your 3 guys up front that you talked about, and the whole team, admittedly, they're going to give you that extra little bit Tuesday to try and put you in a good position in Champions Cup. Yeah. And Saturday night didn't pay off for him, but it's not the end of the world. And he can afford, with the World Cup and everything else coming up, to push guys a little harder here in the beginning of the season when you have this fixture congestion, because you're going to have a month where you're not doing anything unless you're in the World Cup.
You need like a 3-0 at the very least, I will say, at Geodis against America.
Yeah.
At the least. I mean, at the absolute best case scenario, right, is if they shut him out at Geodis Park, because at least you only have to worry about an away goal. But yeah, this is going to be massive, and hopefully it doesn't backfire, guys, on Nashville, especially with, again, Champions Cup coming up.
Yeah, it's a big decision for Nashville, because obviously CCC is the big prize for any team in North America, for MLS especially. So it's just an interesting decision. Nashville still atop the East with 13 points, 2 points ahead of NYCFC, who drew to St. Louis this weekend. So despite the loss, Nashville is still in a really good spot. No harm done. The question is, should he have played the kids, right? Should he have played the kids in this game? The rest is starters. You guys know who is playing the kids, though? RSL, baby. 4-1-1 after a 3-1 win over Sporting Kansas City. Xavier Gozo's season is still on. He scored a banger this match. He's got it was a goal and 2 assists. Diego Luna's back. Moonboy is back from his injury. He's trying to make his case to be on that World Cup roster, even though it might be too late because he wasn't in this FIFA window, and it was kind of said that
we'll see.
He had to be in this window. But Mauricio Pochettino obviously rates him a lot. He's done phenomenal for the U.S. Over the past year, with Pochettino obviously relying on him heavily. So maybe he still has a shot. We don't know, but he's hitting the ground running. And this RSL team that has a lot of young players, Sergi Solans, for example, absolutely killing it still. And we obviously just mentioned Gozo. I mean, guys, yeah. What do you guys think about this? First of all, actually, before we get into any of that, Xavier Gozo, because I've heard it floated around, and I want to get your take. Xavier Gozo, what are his odds of being on the World Cup squad?
0. I mean, it's too young, 1, and 2, it is too small of a sample size. And Tyler, I think you agree. But I have to correct you though, Henry. It's not a Golazo, it's a Gozolazo. I think it's what they're calling it. Yes. On social media. It's great. No, but I mean, this is certainly, if this continues, a 2030 player for sure, and player to be looking at for the next World Cup should the U.S. qualify, of course. But we'll get to that bridge. We'll cross the bridge when we get to it. But Luna is the other. I can't do
it. This one was already rough enough. I don't get it back on the USMNT.
Right. But just quickly though, I mean, we're kind of joking about it, but just quickly, I mean, great to see Luna back. And Henry, you mentioned, Poach rating him for the summer roster. Injuries have kept him off the pitch. I mean, should that disqualify him from being in the discussion for the World Cup roster? RSL fans will tell you, no, it shouldn't, because of what he brings. Don't know if he'll start, obviously, but he can at least bring you some success, hopefully off the bench. But just going back to just this roster as a whole, and we named out some of the names, this is a really strong coaching job, a really strong developmental job, really from top to bottom for RSL and that developmental pipeline, but really a strong coaching job for them, for Pablo Mastroeni and his staff. So many young players. I think when Atlanta United played them, their average age, I have to go back and look at it, the average age of their starting 11 was something like 23.7 or something like that, which was one of the youngest, right up against Red Bulls for that particular match day, right? So a young roster, I mean, but we mentioned it with Red Bull, a few weeks ago, right? If they hit a bump in the road, if they hit adversity, how do these young players respond to that? And it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be smooth sailing the entire season for them. But how can this staff, how can Mastroeni encourage these young players? How can these veterans, a veteran like Luna, who's still young-ish, but a veteran, how can he encourage these young players to say, hey, keep your head up. Don't get too low. There's always next week. Keep going, keep at it. So that's what I'm looking for RSL, if they can sustain what's going on so far.
Yeah, I think in this one it was funny because the stats were comical in one direction. You had 23 shots to 3.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nothing against SKC. The only thing SKC has going for it is Jovic. That's the only thing they really have to hold on to. And cool, they got a goal out of him, but it's like, man, what are we doing in Kansas City? But no, I mean, to y'all's points, I don't really have a whole lot to add. Like RSL is they figured something out that's working, and it's working very well. And you're far enough along to say, like, there's something consistent. This isn't necessarily a fluke. Like you said, you got Luna coming back. I'm not going to get back on the train. I keep saying it. But after what we saw here in Atlanta with the men's national team last week, start Luna. Start him. I don't care.
Yes.
Let him have some creativity, some fun, maybe a little bit of the ability to make a decision in the final third that doesn't take 35 minutes to make. So anyway, getting off the train. RSL.
Okay, Tyler.
Hey man, I'm here for it. It's fun. I'm glad, from an Atlanta perspective, they've already got that game out of the way. But I'm intrigued to see kind of what they do for the entire season.
San Diego coming up, guys, on April 17th. They're off the next match day, but gonna be an interesting match to watch against a really good San Diego team. And sure, they lost this past match day to San Jose 3-0. And San Jose, by the way, just continues their terrific start to the season. But this is going to be their biggest test, RSL, coming up against the San Diego teams that's still very capable. After that, guys, Miami at home. And then they have the Galaxy, which are obviously not doing well again this season. But then after that, Portland at home, and then away to Dallas, who had a 4-0 win over DC United. So interesting next few matches. The first two are going to be your gauntlet matches against two of the best teams in Major League Soccer. I think coming out of those two matches, guys, are going to tell you a lot about, or is going to tell you a lot about, where this RSL team is headed in 2026, I think. You're on mute, Henry.
Great. We were on a roll, and then we had that snafu. Dang it. I was saying, if you can ball with San Diego and Inter Miami, you are going to be fine. These are two teams that are expected to be among the top teams in either of their conferences. Inter Miami is perhaps experiencing some growing pains, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, these are two teams with lots of quality. And if RSL can get through those games and get results, that is a huge, huge feather in Pablo Mastroeni's cap for not only, trusting these young players, but, for being able to kind of bring them in at the right time. Because, talking with some development coaches and some people that are involved in that part of the academy pipeline and this player development system, it's a difficult balance, right? To advance a player through the pipeline, to advance them up because you want them to reach their potential as soon as they can. But at the same time, not throw them into lava, basically, like not throw them into something that they're not prepared for. And so finding that balance is difficult.
Right.
And then being able to, not shatter their confidence, right, when things don't go their way. And often for these young players, right, playing in an MLS game, that's a lot of pressure. But these guys are taking it well, they're taking it in stride, and it's working out for them. The question is, again, how long can they keep that going? Well, so far, they're doing a good job with it. So a huge credit to just RSL, their academy system, and obviously the coaching staff that they're able to bring these guys in and have them be major contributors.
Do we have any final thoughts, by the way, on Sporting Kansas City before you turn the page here?
I'm sorry.
There's not much to talk about, honestly.
They didn't give up 4. They didn't give up 6, at least.
I guess you could call that a positive. That's what I tweeted literally during the match week. I'm like, hey, things can be bad if you're an Atlanta fan, but at least you're not Orlando, who have conceded 5 goals in 3 of their games. But I digress.
Yeah.
That is pretty wild. There's another pretty wild game this weekend. And we have notes, right, that we prepare before the show, and Sydney had wrote Whitecaps wildest win of the weekend, and I had to say wrong, because even though this was a wild game, there is one that is wilder, and we are going to get to that in a second, so stick around. But before we talk about that, let's get to Whitecaps. Huge 3-2 win over Portland. Dramatic towards the end. The Whitecaps were trailing 2-1 in BC Place by the end of the 90 minutes. Then they get a penalty. Thomas Muller converts. And then 90 plus 5 minutes of stoppage time. Sebastian Berhalter with an
U.S. Men's National Team
screamer from the top of the box. Nails it. 3-2 win. Place explodes. It goes wild. Guys, we were here for both USMNT matches. Sebastian Berhalter, I think he played in both of them, but he started in the Portugal game. And he was testing himself with some of these shots from distance, right? We saw that in person.
He took a hit, and we
looked close several times. It took some saves from Jose Sa to keep him off the scoreboard. This time, James Pantemis can't do it. And it's a winner for the Whitecaps, guys. What do we think about this game?
And don't forget, too, guys, the tackle that he made in defense to win possession and then set himself up for that goal. So we can't forget about that. But yeah, I mean, we mentioned it. He didn't do himself any favors against Belgium, against Portugal especially, and got a lot of stick for it. Yeah. But got a lot of stick for it. And he was one of those players, guys, who is, I feel like a lot of people hold this opinion, was really on the outside looking in at that midfielder core for the World Cup for the U.S. Men's National Team this summer. I mean, maybe a chip on his shoulder, guys, against Portland, maybe a atonement for, I guess, what he wasn't able to do against Belgium and Portugal at the Benz this past week or last week.
He deserves it. I mean, he like, I think, like you said, going back a year, right? Everybody was like, wait, Berhalter had a son? What are we talking about? That's kind of where everybody was at.
He's got a kid?
Yeah. And then he had a phenomenal 2025. I mean, we talked about he had a great start to the season, and then Thomas Muller gets here. And I remember being on this show saying, dude, if Sebastian Berhalter can learn from one of the greatest to ever do the job, that would be wonderful for obviously his development for the U.S. And then he's kind of been working his way and being I don't want to say a mainstay, because nobody's really a mainstay right now unless your name rhymes with Malisic. But like,
right,
he's a guy coming in who you would be crazy not to put him on the World Cup roster. I think like there's a lot of players that probably need to have a shout for that core group, you can't legitimately have that conversation and not put Berhalter in there.
I agree.
So that goes into the question that I'm about to ask, which is Sebastian Berhalter on that 26-man roster for the World Cup?
I totally did not even see that. I did not mean to jump ahead like that. That was my bad. Yeah, he needs to be there. There, I'll dip out now.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me either way. I mean, I think on the back of this performance, certainly, and if you can string together a few more strong performances at the club level, I think it's an easy yes. That being said, Poch has said he values camp performance over club performance, but I don't think if he can have matches like this, and I'll bring Atlanta back into it, if Max Arston can have more matches like the one he did against Atlanta, goal and an assist, they can make very vigorous cases for themselves to at least be in the hunt, even if you're not starting right, at least a depth piece or a couple of depth pieces for Mauricio Pochettino this summer for the U.S. men's national team.
Yeah, I like Berhalter. He plays very, very well. Obviously, MLS Best 11 midfielder last season, which was a huge breakout season for him with the White Caps. As Scott's is mentioning in the chat, Columbus Crew Academy product. And anytime that I think back to his origins, I just picture the TikTok of him and Aiden Morris dancing. Which, by the way, that was the midfield pairing for the USMNT against Portugal. So let the memes live, dude. I'm all for that. But yeah, I like seeing the MLS players kind of getting those chances with the national team and showing that they can ball at that level. Also, but by the way, Sebastian Berhalter, his contract with the Whitecaps expires at the end of 2026. So he could be a free agent and potentially one of the most in-demand free agents by the end of this season. Which team could make a move for him? Because, well, yeah, he could stay. He could stay in Vancouver. He could move to another MLS club. He could move outside of MLS. I mean, there's probably a place for him in Europe, but certainly you have to think if you are an MLS club looking to reinforce your midfield, Atlanta, you would definitely be looking in his direction.
How much money do you realistically throw at Seb Berhalter, though?
I mean, what's he on right now, though?
Huh?
Tam?
I was asking what's he on. I imagine it's not very much, but he'll get a big payday wherever he ends up
ask
at.
For a pay raise, no matter where he goes, for sure.
Yeah.
So,
and he'll have suitors too.
I mean, he's on 385 right now, guys. I mean, he's going to be approaching well into TAM status. Obviously.
The minimum, though, I think any real club goes to him and says the minimum is double that, right?
Wow.
Like that's not out of left.
So we're saying like 6'7".
Yeah.
That came out. I didn't even mean for it.
No way, dude.
I didn't even mean.
Inadvertent six.
Still the disappointment in my face.
I swear to God, I didn't even mean it.
The answer is yes. Yes.
Gosh.
I'm so sorry.
You did the hand thing, kind of.
You know what? I'm never hosting again, guys. This can't happen. Okay.
Well played, though. He snuck it inadvertently.
Case in point, Sebastian Berhalter has the potential to be one of the most in-demand free agents in MLS this next winter window. So we'll have to watch for that. But for now, he's with the Whitecaps, who are second in the West, just a point behind LAFC. Meanwhile, Portland. Oh boy, what can we say about the Portland Timbers? They are rough. 4 points, 4 losses to start the season. Phil Neville, on a scale of mild to ouchie, how hot is the seat?
There's no way he's a coach of this team on the other side of the World Cup break. Zero chance. Pretty much ouchie.
Yeah,
it's not ouchie. He's pretty darn close at this point. But no, he's not. He's not going to be a coach of this club beyond the World Cup break. And it's amazing because they ran out Gio Savarese only to get these results from Phil Neville. So
yeah.
Hindsight isn't always 20/20, but in this case, Yeah.
Like it is. That came out wrong. It is the results, but it's just like he's such an immature person. It seems like on the coaching level, like just outside the realm of being like a passionate coach that maybe says some things he probably shouldn't say. He just occasionally does some
Like a
weird.
Dean Smith.
Yeah. But he's gonna have to go. I know we've kind of discussed already a few times this season, like whose seat is actually getting like really hot. And we threw a couple of names out there, but Phil Neville's consistently up there at the top. And when you lose a game like that, which is a derby, first of all, and you were leading all the way until the first minute of stoppage, that does extra things for the ouchie. It's going to get it moving a lot quicker.
Yeah, it's not great when the results are bad and the vibes aren't great, and a Juan David Mosquera Goal of the Year candidate can't save you. It's bad when you're winning in the 90th minute and then 5 minutes later you are losing. God, you just can't lose games that way. And
no.
Speaking from experience covering Atlanta United and having that frustration happen more than once, you cannot have that happen. So yeah,
a draw sucks. But it's like
a draw sucks. A loss when you were
get a point
5 minutes earlier.
Yeah.
That's just unacceptable.
A draw,
and you have to think. You have to think the vibes in that locker room are just abysmal.
Yeah,
no doubt. Yeah,
them in Kansas City, man.
Yeah,
and Orlando, the suffering club.
Yeah.
Who's okay? Well, actually, now that we're at this point, who is your front runner for the wooden spoon?
Orlando at this point.
It has to be, right?
Clean up this defensively.
Yeah.
I mean, they're trending, like we said, toward a historically bad defensive performance. So I think Orlando right now.
But to be fair, the Union don't have a win either, do they?
Don't. No.
They don't have any points, do they?
They have 0 points. They're on 0 points. You're right.
Well, then there you go.
I'm still going with Orlando, though. I'm still going with Orlando.
Fair enough.
I think Philadelphia will get
they'll run into some points at some point, right?
I mean, Griezmann's coming, so like, did you gotta like get some accidentally at that point?
Yeah.
Right? One would think.
I suppose.
Let's just ask the LA Galaxy of 2025. Anyway.
Right.
We led into that segment by mentioning that there was another game that beat out this one for wildest win of the match day.
Probably.
And it was the first game of the match day. What a way to kick off a Saturday slate of soccer, guys. Toronto, Colorado. I just got to walk y'all through this because this is one of the wildest games that I have seen. Everything happened in this game.
Go ahead.
Everything happened imaginable. So let's start. 34th minute. Colorado's Jackson Travis is sent off for a bad foul on Raheem Edwards. Okay. We're down to a 10-11.
Yep.
Literally second half, 5 minutes into the second half, Raheem Edwards himself is sent off for denial of a goal scoring opportunity. We're down 10-10 for most of the second half, right?
No.
Colorado then takes a 2-1 lead. Richie Larea scores a banger of a goal, right? He saw Christian Espinosa's goal from like a couple weeks ago and he's like, haha, I can do that too. And then scores it as well. He catches, I don't remember who the frick is freaking Colorado's goalkeeper. Oh, Zach Steffen, because we're about to talk about him in a second. But he catches him off his line. That's not the worst blunder he's going to have in this game. Spoiler alert. 74th minute, Miguel Navarro gets a second yellow card. We're down to
9v10.
We're down to a 9v10, guys. 3 red cards in a game.
It's been a while since I've seen a 9v10.
But wait, it gets better.
Oh, wait, more.
Zach Steffen, the aforementioned Colorado Rapids goalkeeper,
former U.S. men's national team goalkeeper.
No, and this is the reason he's not on the U.S. men's national team anymore.
Right.
I have to describe this as best I can. So basically, there's a 50-50 in midfield. Colorado's player wins the challenge and basically kind of passes the ball back, but in like a lob
Right.
back into the box. Zach Steffen's under it. It looks like he's going to control it, and it's going to be just fine. Except he doesn't control it, and instead the ball goes into his net. And what is potentially that is going to be on some blooper reels. That has to be on some blooper reels already. Biggest MLS or biggest goalkeeper bloopers in world soccer at this point, because that is an embarrassing goal to concede for a goalkeeper who, by the way, used to play for Man City.
He's done this a few
times.
So that moment. Zach Steffen,
friend of the show. Sorry, friend of the show. Ben Wright called it the greatest goal in MLS history.
I could not believe it when I saw it. Like, I just didn't know what I had witnessed. I had to watch the replay several times to know what the heck happened. But anyway, on the back of that, Josh Sargent wins it 85th minute with his very first goal for Toronto FC. A 3-2 win for Toronto, but one of the most fun and wild and like the drunkenest of drunk uncle games that you have ever seen. If you didn't watch it live, like you don't know what you missed. Like you missed something transcendental.
And the fact that it was the opener, right?
Yes.
We were watching it we're not watching, we were catching up with like the tail end of it at the Benz, and I was like, we've peaked this weekend. It's not going to get any better than this. Period. I gotta throw it out there. Like Zach Steffen, he's had these over his career. It's unfortunately not even like an uncommon thing anymore. It's just a thing.
Yeah.
You can chalk him up for about one a year at this point. Just wild. I will give him. I'm not giving him anything. I'll play devil's advocate. To a degree.
He didn't give up 6.
Yeah, for real.
Is that what every goalkeeper is going to be measured by? Because you didn't.
Right.
But did you die?
Yeah.
The wind caught the ball. The wind was wild. The wind caught the ball clearly. Now, this is not an excuse. It's just part of it. The thing that bothers me the most is like, you would think, all right, I have an excuse. The ball got caught in the wind. I just didn't read it right. It's happened before. We've seen it in MLS recently, last year. I forget what team it was, but these things happen, right? But it wasn't the wind catching it and carrying it that he screwed up with. He read the ball well. Up until about a half a second before it landed at what should have been his chest, or at least his thigh. But no.
Yeah.
Just kind of tried to pull out some talent that he did not have with his toe. Missed it entirely. And it rolls into the net. It's just like boneheaded decision making, right? I don't know if you're trying to be cute. I don't know if you really think you're that talented with your feet. But why are we fiddling around? I yell this stuff at my freaking kids in youth soccer. Like, stop fiddling around in front of the goal. What are we doing? Like,
right.
You have one job, and it is to not let that ball in the back of the net. So when you do something like that, it's really, really unforgivable for me on like a professional team, because it's not a mistake that should happen ever. Period.
We laugh, but I mean, you hate to see it for Zach Steffen. It like you said, it's unfortunate, but I mean, it can't happen at any level.
Nope.
And this is, I mean, Henry, you said he was with Man City a few years ago, but it was just unfortunate ever since, he won that move over to Europe. He just hasn't been the same keeper, and it's just tough to see that from some Zach Steffen, seriously speaking.
Yeah, that was a moment that I didn't see coming. I also didn't see coming that Toronto FC would be 6th in the East with 10 points, 3 points off the Eastern Conference lead. I repeat, Toronto FC is a win away from topping the Eastern Conference. What a world we live in.
Wow.
But yeah, this is a team that, they've built themselves pretty decently over the past couple of windows. Josh Sargent is obviously a massive signing. He had a really good chance earlier in this game that he somehow missed, and I was totally making fun of him for that. But then he goes back and redeems himself at the end of the game with the game winner, so all is good. It begins his story in Toronto, and we'll see kind of where that takes them. But guys, I'm just curious, what is Toronto's ceiling this season?
I think playoffs at the very least. I think, like you said, they've put together a very decent roster. I mean, you mentioned Sargent, Jordan Mihailovic, still a good player. And then you look at Raheem Edwards, veteran player. He got sent off, obviously, in this match, but he's a veteran you can depend on. Richard Livrea, another veteran, a national team level player. And then Jonathan Osorio, another player, another veteran player. I use the word veteran a lot. Shallowy. You have, it's not superstars. I mean, none of those players are like Galacticos or anything like that, or whatever the French Canadian version of Galacticos is. But this is still a decent roster. I mean, not a world beating roster, but at least you have some pieces that you could build around if you're TFC. Sargent, I mean, question is what is his ceiling? I mean, what can TFC, what can Robin Fraser get out of him now with him in MLS? So I don't know. I think at the very least playoffs. I don't know where they are with DP slots. I'm actually pulling up right now. Stefan, of course, takes one up for TSC, but if you look at potential
Colorado
Sargent. I'm sorry. Yeah. But
wait a minute.
Actually, no. Say what happened?
You said Stefan in Toronto, so we were both.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sargent in Toronto. But yeah, you have Mihailovic and Sargent are your DPs. But guys, you have 2 U22 spots right now as we speak. If you're TFC, what does Jason Hernandez do with those? Do you add another player that you feel can be a difference maker? Forgot Zimmerman earlier in that discussion, but do you add another player that can be a difference maker potentially that fits the sort of makeup that TFC is looking for? I mean, that's why I think. But yeah, playoffs for sure. Tyler, what do you think?
I think they're a red herring, honestly. And what I mean by that is I just don't think I think they're being sneaky right now. I actually
red herring.
Yeah.
I'll
do my best.
Well played.
But no, I think they let's look at their schedule so far. So far in 2026, they started off opener FC Dallas. They lost by 1.
Mm.
And they got mollywopped by Vancouver, which is understandable, 3-0.
Right.
Then they beat Cincy 1-0. Cincy's been terrible this year. They drew the Red Bulls 1-1. And then they beat Columbus, who's also been terrible this year, 2-1. And then they just had this cluster of a game Saturday.
Yeah.
Colorado, kind of whatever, especially when you have your goalkeeper making mistakes like that. But then going forward, you have Cincy again, Austin, not great, Philly, terrible, Atlanta United, really bad right now. And then you finally get to a game where I think you can see what they're going to be made of, and that is against San Jose on May 2nd. But Toronto is playing like average enough right now to beat every one of those teams that they have before they meet San Jose. And that's why I say I think they're a little bit of a red herring, because they might continue to look good for a few weeks, but then they're going to hit San Jose, and then they have their Canadian Championship against Ottawa, whatever, then Miami, then Charlotte, then Chicago. And so that's
when they're going to hit a wall, is what you're saying.
Yeah. I think May is going to show you a lot about this team.
Interesting. I mean, that's certainly a good point. I don't know that Josh Sargent solves all of your problems, but he's definitely good to have. And it also depends how quick the adjustment is, because yes, he scored in this game, but again, how much can you keep that up? He has an amazing supporting cast, and I'm assuming that they're going to build on that in the summer. But yeah, the question is, can he continue that rhythm? Speaking of rhythm, South Florida was moving to a different rhythm this weekend. It was
Segway King over here.
Inter Miami inaugurating their brand
Teach
new
us your
stadium.
ways.
Hold on.
Oh no.
Well, that's great. My Wi-Fi decided to shut me up because of that terrible pun. Inter Miami inaugurated their new stadium. You
said that.
I'm sorry again. Gosh darn it! I didn't know where I had cut out. Okay.
No, you said new stadium twice. What's their stadium called? New stadium.
Oh, God.
What's their new stadium called? Who's on first?
Exactly. A-tier reference.
Right.
But they opened it up this weekend. A huge crowd there. And it didn't start off great. Austin took a lead. Messi ties it in like the 10th minute. And then Austin strikes again. I think it was in the second half or before the second half at this point. And then Miami tries fighting back throughout that second half. Luis Suarez gets the tying goal that the entire stadium celebrates like it's a win. But yeah, a 2-2 draw for Inter Miami against Austin. But guys, there was a bit of a sketchy moment, and there usually are with these Inter Miami games, unfortunately. But a PK shout for Austin FC, where I do believe that in this case, the foot goes over the ball and it grabs the player and it gets the player. And I think it's Christian Ramirez.
Yeah.
Gets fouled.
Yep.
And it doesn't even get checked. Personally, I think VAR has a responsibility there to see that and at least recommend a review. That's the least that you can do. Because at this point, if you're not recommending a review for that, it's a play where there is some doubt, where there is at least some evidence of something going wrong. The referee needs to have a look at this because this is a game-changing play.
I mean, Europe, they're complaining about, I mentioned this, I think a few weeks ago, they're complaining about VAR being used too much. And now here we are discussing why it wasn't used at all. I mean, like you said, Henry, there's doubt. There's, the call of the field, yes, is no penalty play on, but VAR, I don't have it in front of me who the VAR was, and I can kind of filibuster here while I look it up. But
I mean, the thing is, like, they have a responsibility.
Yeah, they got to call it in. Like, you have to call that in if you're VAR. That is your job, to monitor the play on the field, monitor the action, and say, hey, you know what? You may have missed one there, Alan Chapman, as Michael Ratchick is the VAR. You may have missed one there, Alan. Maybe take a look at that just to see if your call was correct. I think it's a bad look on the VAR. The VAR official, I should say, in this particular case. It's a potentially game-changing moment. Who knows if Austin even makes a penalty, of course, if it is called, but it's potentially a game-changing moment. And if it does get called a penalty, there's a chance we could be talking about a 3-2 Austin win versus a 2-2 draw, which, yes, Miami will feel not hard done, but yes, Miami will feel a little disappointed that they couldn't get the win to kick off the new stadium era, but Austin will be hard done because, they rightfully felt that there should have been a penalty. So, just poor decision or lack of decision by Michael Ratchick, the VAR official in this particular match. He has to see that. He has to call that down to Alan Chapman and have him take a look just to make sure, at the very least, that there is no foul leading to a penalty, at the very least.
I wonder, I know a lot about kind of the back end work of the VAR and the ref and all, but I wonder what they determine in terms of what they put out to like the broadcast, as far as like, was the recommendation made and then Alan Chapman just said, no, I'm not going to go take a look.
Well, he can't.
What do you mean?
He can't turn down the recommendation, can he?
I'm pretty sure.
If VAR tells him?
I could have sworn.
That's absurd.
I don't know. I mean, I could be missing something, but I mean,
if he could just do that, then what's the point of VAR? So the referee just goes and checks when he feels like.
I mean, I'll have to check that. I don't know. I mean, you could be right, but
referred to as a recommendation to go look, not like
that is
you have to go look.
That is bull.
Yeah, I mean, it's
I'm really. I don't know if that's
about
semantics or something, but but to Harry's point, if it's a recommendation by the letter of what it says in the dictionary, why have VAR in the first place if the on-field referee can just veto it in the first place?
I'm just trying to figure out, like, who's to blame here? Like, did you call it down and then he just said, no, I'm not looking, or was Alan Chapman just never notified? That's the thing, right? Because it is not that it changes anything. but I think it would change the optics a little bit of like how people look at pro refs, because you cannot tell me that you looked at that, even at I glanced at the TV screen while I was eating a chip and saw that split second and looked back. Like I'm saying 100%. Oh, that's a penalty. And
So,
he didn't even do that. That's crazy. Like you can't with good conscience tell me none of the other referees said something in their little mic to just be like, hey, you might want to go take a look at that. That's crazy.
We saw it was a penalty. The 4-man crew of the MLS, I think what's it called, the 360 show.
Yeah,
there's a clip on YouTube of the MLS on air folks all going, yeah, that's a penalty. That should be checked. And then they're mind blown when it doesn't even get recommended.
So Tyler, I stand corrected. You're actually right. I looked up IFAB, which is the English refereeing board, but yes, you're correct. The referee can initiate that review. The VAR can only recommend it. So they're literally making a recommendation to the referee. I mean, that's what it is. But yeah, I must have missed that. I obviously did not know that, but like Henry said, if it's a recommendation, why have it? Why have it in the first place?
What are we doing, actually? What are we doing? It's absurd. What is the point of having a VAR?
Exactly.
If they're going to have no real say, if they can basically be ignored by the referee, then there's no point.
Yeah.
And if the referee is picking and choosing their moments to use the VAR, that's even worse.
Right. It's a broken system. Either way, it's a broken system. Whether it's, like we said, in Europe or in England specifically, it's being used too much and over judiciously, or if it's not being used enough here in MLS. It's a broken system, and it has been for years, and it needs to be fixed before something really catastrophic happens, say in the World Cup, which I believe, guys, it will be semi-automated VAR if I'm not mistaken. But I can see just as happened before, some catastrophic situation where a team is robbed of a win or robbed of a result because of a poor VAR decision. It's just, what's it going to take, I guess?
Yeah. I get on these soapboxes every once in a while about refereeing, and it's just that. It's like, be consistent. If you have a system as it reads now where the VAR can recommend to the ref to go take a look, the fact that he is making a recommendation should be everything that you need to just that's instant right there. Not saying because he's not saying you need to go turn that call over, because the only one who can make a decision technically on the field is that ref. So he needs to go and at that point just say, all right, well, I'll take a look. I'm not, you don't get any preconceived notion of like it's going to be turned over. The whole job is to say, I think you just need to have a check because it was a very close call. That's how it should be. Clearly now, like in this game, it wasn't used that way, but we have seen matches where it feels like it's used properly. And my biggest thing is just consistency. There's no consistency across the board with VAR. And it's so frustrating to deal with because it's like, why do you spend all this money to put these cameras in all these stadiums to check offsides and everything else and have every freaking angle you can think of to look at, and you don't just trot over to the sideline and take a peek? Why do we even have it in the first place?
This isn't the first VAR controversy that Inter Miami is involved in. A few weeks ago, before the international break, there was a whole, did Dane St. Clair handle the ball over the line issue? Yeah. Which I don't remember if that even got looked at. I don't think it did. But that was a whole thing. Anyway, Inter Miami, they escape with a point. They're fourth in the East with 11 points. I'm wrong. It's 10. Anyway,
it's disappointing for Inter Miami. I mean, just fourth in the East, their aspirations are much higher. I mean, they're of course out of Champions Cup. So
which
Gotta
was
be
their
a lot
big
of
goal,
disappointment again. Yeah,
which is their
there's
big
gotta be
goal
a
this
lot.
season.
Yeah,
But
and
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say there's a lot of disappointment. I feel like, especially opening up a brand new stadium in the heart of Miami, that you couldn't open it up with a win and push yourself further up the table. But we'll see what happens with Miami. They're still a good team, but I just worry the players, just the age factor. Like Messi isn't going to play forever. Just their prime players are going to be gone one day, and I don't think this really sunk in for Miami fans. They're enjoying it for now, but someday Messi's going to retire. He's going to hang up the cleats. Someday, Luis Suarez, even though he's not a starter, primary starter, is going to hang up the cleats. What's your next step after that?
And Alba and Busquets were your warning, and they are suffering kind of the withdrawal from them, and the growing pains of what do we do without these two guys who were a massive part of this club's success over the past few years. They've got to refine themselves now. And their next chance to kind of get on good terms will be Saturday, April 11th, 7:30 p.m. when they host Red Bull New York High School, guys, including their star player Julian Hall, who scored this weekend his 5th goal this season. That is 5 more goals than Heung-min has scored this season, which, by the way, was one of Miami's big signings this offseason.
Yeah.
Julian Hall, by the way, just turning 18 on March 24th, let's add.
Hey, congratulations to him. He's officially an adult now, I guess. But it's still wild, dude, that we have an 18-year-old that scored 5 goals this season in 6 games. So props to him. Props to the Red Bulls because they're doing decently. And yeah, dude, Miami's got to figure their stuff out. And Bertarame's got to start coming good because he's got nothing through 6 games plus Champions League. And that's not what they signed him for. They signed him to be this big goal scorer, and he's not been that so far. And he's already lost his starting spot, which is never a good indication for you. So
yeah,
we'll see what happens. But that is all the MLS action that we had this weekend. We're going to get into the Concacaf Champions Cup action, but before we do, we would like to tell you to please head over to scarvesandspikes.com for all your amazing Atlanta United coverage, as well as USMNT coverage and WSL Atlanta coverage, all that sort of news, analysis, and opinions you can find on the website. We're putting stuff there all the time. So be sure to check that out. We also have our World Cup guide if you're coming to Atlanta for one of the 8 World Cup games that will be hosted in the city. Please check that out because there are some very helpful tools to help you find your way in the city, find some cool stuff to do, aside from obviously watching some awesome soccer. And then, check out also our stats page where we have tons of historical info of Atlanta United games, some really cool stuff that Tyler put together using ASA's database for goals added and stuff like that. Our own world famous X-Rage meter, which is currently it's up there. It's really high.
87.
So. Wow. What is it?
87.
87, guys.
Yeah,
that's
currently looking how to break a lease in Atlanta.
It's not looking good in Atlanta, but the stats page is looking very, very good. So check a look at that. Also, if you aren't already, please join the Patreon. Starting at $5 a month, you get access to tons of exclusive content, including our training ground recaps, our Patreon mailbags, our unfiltered series, tons and tons and tons of extra content that we're throwing up there routinely. You also get access to our Discord, where we are active all the time. We will pretty much be there anytime to answer any of your questions about Atlanta United or soccer in general or life. Like, I don't know, how to barbecue or something. Or I don't know if Tyler's good at that.
Tyler.
Video games. These guys play Call of Duty. So if you want to do that, then come hang out. We're building an awesome community, and we would love to have you there. And then finally, another way to support us is by following all of our social media channels. At Scarves, the letter N, Spikes on Twitter, Scarves and Spikes on Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads, I think, is also one that we have. TikTok. Yes. follow all those social medias, give us likes and stuff and comments, and let us know what we're doing, how we're doing, and what kind of content y'all would like to see. We're always looking at those for ways to improve and give you guys more of what y'all want to see. So yeah, just make sure to do that. Do all the algorithm things. It helps us, keeps the lights on. It allows me to have food.
That's pretty dire.
Please help.
Yeah.
But please do support us. We do appreciate it. It's independent journalism.
Yeah.
We love all this work. So
yeah, like, subscribe, share our content on YouTube, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify as well.
And I hit everything, right?
Yeah.
Hey.
Yes. Well done.
So let's get into CCC to kind of help bring this to a close. We've got a few quarterfinal matchups to look forward to, starting with tomorrow. The MLS clubs involved: Nashville hosting Club America at 8 p.m. And then at 10 p.m., immediately after that, LAFC hosting Cruz Azul. Guys, from those matches tomorrow, I'm not going to say who's advancing, but who do you think takes an advantage into leg 2?
I like LAFC's chances to take advantage into leg 2 more than I do Nashville, because I feel like that win against Orlando is what LAFC needed to kind of kickstart their attack against MLS opponents, but I think they can kind of ride that into this match coming up against Cruz Azul. That's not to say Nashville's attack isn't any good, which it is, but I mentioned it with Nashville, I mentioned it with LAFC as well. First order of business, you have to prevent an away goal, because the last thing you want is one of these teams to pick up an away goal in your stadium and come back and have not much to do to overturn this deficit in Mexico next week. So if you're Nashville, if you're LAFC, you're doing everything you can to more or less run up the score as much as you can without conceding on the other side. I feel like if you can score 3 goals or so, you can leave town with a 3-0 lead. I think you're in decent shape, because we know what these Mexican teams can do. But I think LAFC is more equipped, I think, from an attacking standpoint. Nashville kind of right behind them. But what do you think, Tyler?
I actually think LAFC might have the tougher time, because Cruz Azul is a good team, and they score goals. I think I was just looking. They've scored 24 goals in 13 matches this season so far. They're second in the Clausura. They were finished third in the Apertura this year. Like they consistently, I mean, they always have been, but consistently, like when it's relevant and recent, they've been really good. So I don't know. I'm not saying that the game is a blowout. I think it could end up being a tie, but I think the big thing is they're going to get that away goal, and I think it's going to be really tough.
Yeah.
The other way around. So,
yeah.
But I don't know. These are 2 really good games on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't wait for them. Personally, for me, I think LAFC has a decent chance of taking a result into the second leg. I trust their defense a little bit more, because I think that they know that they're on a roll in that sense. Right. And I think they're going to carry that confidence with them. Cruz Azul is a tough team. Absolutely. But you're at home. You have the motivation that you really, really want to get off to a very good start in this tie. So I have a feeling that that's gonna have an impact. And LAFC certainly has the quality to, hold solid at the back and then hit you. Just get yourself a few goals, build yourself a little bit of a buffer before you end up having to go down to Mexico to close out the series. Nashville, I like, absolutely, but Club America, they're always a tough team. And I think for me, if you're asking me between the 2 of them, I feel more secure with LAFC's defense and their ability to hold off an away goal than Nashville. So, having said that, let's go on to the other two quarterfinal matchups that will be played on Wednesday. I am less confident about both of these, but at 9 p.m., Tigres hosts Seattle Sounders, and then at 11 p.m., Toluca hosts LA Galaxy. Sydney, let's start with you.
Why bother even showing up if you're LA Galaxy?
For real, dude.
Yeah. And, Seattle, I feel like they'll have marginally a better chance of getting a result against Tigres, but yeah, I mean, this could get pretty ugly for either side, and I'm just not confident, guys, that either Seattle or LA Galaxy can leave Mexico with a good result. Like, Tigres, Toluca are going to be looking to just rain down goals. Toluca hasn't scored 19 times in 13 matches in the Clausura. Tigres with 18 goals in 13 matches. So not the high-scoring attack that Cruz Azul is, but still pretty decent attack against a couple of teams, guys, that aren't the best attacking in MLS, and I feel that's going to really come back to bite them. Seattle, yes, they're fifth in the West right now, but 6 goals, guys, through 6 matches. They've conceded 2, so we'll see. I don't think the defense guys will hold up really against Tigres. And then Galaxy just 2 goals, or I'm sorry, Galaxy 8 goals scored, 10 conceded. So much less confident about Toluca versus Galaxy than I am about Tigres and the Sounders, but I just don't see either side, Seattle or LA, get a favorable result, Tyler.
It's a wrap for MLS on Wednesday.
Yeah.
It's not happening. I'm sorry. Seattle is they just seem racked with injuries this year. And then you have the Galaxy, who are admittedly in this tournament punching well above their weight class up until now. And I don't think either of these teams, even in this game, but through the 2 legs, I don't think they're going to come out of this.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you. I think both Mexican teams just kind of stomp on Wednesday. Obviously, there's a leg 2, and obviously this is soccer where anything can happen. But I just think if you take too much of a disadvantage into that second leg, no matter what, it's going to be a tough hill to climb. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Those are the 4 CCC matchups for this week. That tournament is drawing down to a close. All MLS versus Liga MX matchups, which is what we kind of expected. But yeah, it's going to be a fun 4 games to watch midweek. Finally, guys, we have reached the part of the show where we talk about our matches to watch, sponsored by Puppies at the game. Like RSL, their players came out, they walked out holding puppies.
That's right.
That was awesome. And I want to see more of that. And I wish our players would walk out with puppies, because maybe that would up the vibes or something. I don't know. It's something. You got to try anything, right?
Yeah, I'll take some dogs at the game. Yeah.
They got to have that dog in them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We've seen some dogs of performances so far. There's 6 matches. I'll tell you that much.
I thought you were going to go like the UGA route. I was waiting for it. I mean, we didn't even mention it. Anyway, carry on.
Matches to watch. Tyler, let's start with you.
I'm trying to figure out if I want to go with the drunken one or the actually good one. I'll go with the actually good one. I think Vancouver, New York City is a banger. I think that's going to be a really fun match. Both really good teams. I think New York City probably more of the surprise, but maybe not so much. I just think overall that's just like a low key. If you're like a tactical nerd and like watching the build up and things like that, I think this is the game for you for sure.
Sydney.
I'm going to go with a Southeastern derby, guys. Charlotte, Nashville SC at the Crown. 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. I think this is going to be an interesting matchup because the last time these two, or I'm sorry, I'm thinking of something else. I think this can be a good measuring stick match for Charlotte because it's sort of hanging in at the top, near the top of the table. They're 2 points back of Nashville right now. in the Eastern Conference, and they're off to a fairly decent start. I don't think they're getting the conversation they should be getting, but this is a decent team under Dean Smith, coming off a 6-1 against Red Bulls and a 2-1 against Philly. This will be a much tougher challenge, and I think if Charlotte can give a good account of itself, that'll get a lot of people talking around the league. Nashville, of course, coming off its first loss of the season. How can they bounce back on the road against a very credible Charlotte team? So Charlotte FC, Nashville SC, 7:30 Eastern Time, Henry.
Yeah, y'all got the good picks. You know what? I will go with what I think will be the drunk uncle game of the weekend. I'm going to go with New England versus DC. And I think it's going to be a drunk uncle game because these are two teams that, to me, they don't scream contender yet, but they both have stuff going, right? They're in the playoff bubble. They're actually both in the 8th and 9th spots in the East right now. And they're like mid, right? One of those, this guy's predicting that will be 4th, right? But they've had goals, right? They've shown that they can score. They've had decent moments. New England, literally like a few weeks ago, scored like 6 on Cincinnati or something like that. This will be a fun game. I think there will be goals. I think New England is figuring out how to put its attack together. Trying to think of the guy's name. Luca Langoni has kind of found his stride finally after a few years at the club. Carlos Gil is still a baller. Dor Turgeman is a solid striker. And DC, on the other hand, they've built themselves a solid foundation. Ty Baribo is absolutely going ham. Gabriel Pirani is doing well. You've got some balance on these two sides that can make that game interesting. So yeah, that's the one that I think is just going to be complete and utter chaos. I cannot predict what will happen. So that is my drunk uncle match to watch.
I like it. So when I first thought about saying the drunk one, that was my first thought, and then I remembered what we have coming up for Sunday night soccer.
Oh,
and it is Columbus and Orlando City, and all I can think of, literally, when I say those two teams out loud, it's just dun 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 dun.
I feel like there'll be goals in this one. I just don't know how many.
I don't know, because you have an Orlando team that just wants to give up like a touchdown in every match, and then you have Columbus, who didn't score a goal for a month and finally figured out how to hit the back of the net against Atlanta this past weekend. This game is going to be a joke.
Dude,
watch it be a goalless draw. Watch it be 0-0.
No way, dude.
Let's watch.
That'd be brutal if it was. Those are the matches to watch. That is it for us tonight. Thank y'all for sticking around, for watching, for all of your lovely comments. We love having y'all and being able to do this, talk about soccer and MLS, stuff that we love to do. Join us on Wednesday for the main show, where we get to talk about Atlanta United. Yeah.
Sounds sad.
Slightly less enthusiastic
about
that one. But we will find a way to make it fun. Season goes on. We have content going up on the Patreon. We got training tomorrow and Thursday, so we will have stuff up there for y'all. And yeah, that is pretty much it. Sydney, where can people find you on social media?
SH Writes on X, SH Writes on Blue Sky, SH.soccer, Instagram, and Threads.
Tyler, where can people find you?
ATL Pilgrim, everywhere.
I am at HA Higuita on Twitter and Blue Sky at HA_Higuita on Instagram. Be sure to give us all a follow. We all post stuff. We all report. If you follow me, then you will know stuff from the training ground before anyone else does. So do that. And yeah, as always, thanks for hanging out. We will see y'all next time. Peace.
I didn't see the mute thingy that Tommy was talking about. It said like it actually muted him.
I always thought you just have to time it right.
That's what I thought.
I mean, you do, but
He said he saw something, but then that's not.
How many gummies was he on?
Dude, I'm telling y'all that Columbus and Orlando City got an all-timer written all over it.
yeah.
Gosh, can Orlando like score a goal? Can they not get demolished in the game?
Totally an own goal by Orlando City in this one, just
Yeah.
because the universe is funny.
Man,
We'll call it the April Fool's game.
oh, you know what else is a funny game? Montreal, Philadelphia.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
Lord.
fun.
There's a lot of drunk uncle adjacent games
Yes,
this
there
match
are.
week, which I think also just makes it fun. But anyway, see you guys.
Peace.
Yes.